Grant Huckinho, you think creatine is some magic powder while you continue sleeping poorly, training sluggishly, and eating like a scared pigeon. Then you come crying saying creatine doesn't work. It really doesn't work for you, little pink Hulk. This is Hulk speaking. Big Hulk, Green Hulk, Muscular Hulk, and I'll explain why. 9% of guys take creatine wrong, and they continue to have skinny arms and jelly-like self-esteem. First, let's dispel one illusion right off the bat. Creatine alone does not build muscle. Creatine amplify what you already are. If you train like a warrior, it turns into rocket fuel. If you train like a Nutella Hulk, it just turns into expensive pee. And do you know what the biggest mistake is? The guy thinks creatine is a supplement. No, my friend, creatine is a metabolic tool. It acts directly on the muscle's fast energy system, the so-called ATP translating into Hulk language. ATP is the energy currency of muscle. No creatine, few coins. With creatine, pockets full of change for lifting heavy weights. But here's the problem. If you don't use those coins during training, they'll rot in your pocket. Simple as that. Now pay attention, because this is where the real men start. The real boys. The real problem. You take creatine like it's chamomile tea. Most people take creatine like this. Random schedule, random dose. Not enough water, without intense training, without consistency. That's like putting premium gasoline in a cart pulled by chickens. Creatine needs 3 things to make it work. Muscle truly stimulated, proper hydration, correct daily frequency. Without it, it won't enter the muscle. She knocks on the door, you don't answer, and she leaves. And here comes a beautiful scientific term, but simple to understand. Muscle saturation. Creatine only starts to work wonders after the muscle becomes saturated. And saturating muscle isn't about taking a spoonful and going to sleep like a crying baby. Saturating a muscle is daily use, plus heavy training plus water. Without it, your creatine will just become shelf decoration. What science says? No nonsense. Creatine increases strength, volume, muscular repeatability, recovery between series. But it only works when the muscle enters demand status. Translating into Hulkies, the body only sends creatine to the muscle when it deems that muscle essential for survival. If you train in a cute way, your body thinks, that arm of yours is useless. It just sends creatine straight to the kidneys. Now, if you squat heavy, lift weights, and sweat the gym floor, the body enters survival mode. Whoa, we need that muscle. Send creatine now. Pillar 1. The right dose, and not that crumbly you take. Write this down, little Hulk, because this is simple and it works. 5 g of creatine every day without pause. No frills, no crazy TikTok cycle. There is no mandatory attack phase. There is consistency. Taking less than that is fear. Taking more and thinking it will speed things up is foolish. Creatine does not work like caffeine. It works like stock. It's like filling a water tank. Throwing a bucket of water randomly won't solve anything. It needs to be filled every day. Pillar 2. Time is not magic, but it's not random. Either you can take before training, after training, with the meal, but never. No water. Fasting eternally, thinking it's a mystical ritual. Once a week, just like a politician's promise. Creatine likes moderate insulin, water, routine. Want a simple combo? Creatine plus solid meal plus water, sat happy muscle. Pillar 3. Water, you dehydrated camel. If you take creatine and don't drink enough water, congratulations, you just became a Huck dry inside. Creatine draws water into the muscle. Without water, there is no volume. Without volume, there is no strength. Without strength, you remain small. Simple rule, 35 to 45 milliliters of water per kilo of body weight. Does she weigh 80 kilo? It drinks water like a large animal, not like a little bird. Emotional escalation. Now pay attention, because this is going to hurt. Creatine won't save a lazy man. Creatine won't fix a bad workout. Creatine does not compensate for poor sleep. It amplifies who you are. If you are disciplined, she will turn you into a monster. If you're weak, it just leaves you bloated and confused. There are no shortcuts. There is a routine. So decide now, little Hulk. He'll continue taking creatine like he's drinking grandma's tea, or will you use it as tool of war? In the next chapter, I'll show you how to use creatine to force muscle gain in just 7 days, manipulating training, volume, and recovery. But I'll only continue if you show that you can handle it. Now pay attention, Hukinho, because this is where most people get lost. Everyone wants to gain mass in 7 days. But they keep training like a retired Hulk, afraid of the weight, resting for 3 minutes while scrolling on their phones and thinking that creatine will work miracles on its own. It doesn't. But if you use creatine the right way, along with the right stimulus, the body enters muscle emergency mode, and that's where the game changes. Let's understand what happens during these 7 days. The principle you need to understand, or keep small. Creatine? It doesn't build new muscle in a week. What she does is much smarter. Increases intracellular volume, increase strength in sets, increases repeatability, improves recovery between workouts. Translating into Hulkies, you train harder, more often, with less fatigue, and the muscle responds to repeated mechanical stress. I don't want her. If you use creatine and continue training softly, your body thinks, okay, we don't need to grow up. Now, if you use creatine and brutally increases demand, the body then enters adaptive panic mode. We are under attack. Grow now. Pillar 1. Maximum demand training. No nonsense. During these 7 days, you don't train to feel the pump. You train for force adaptation. Golden rule. Sets of 6 to 10 repetitions. Heavy load controlled technical failure. None of 20 repetitions of Nutella Instagram workout. Small talk between series. You want to send the following message to your body. It either grows or it dies. Required exercises. Squat, supine, rowing development, earth moving. These exercises ATP depletes rapidly. And guess who helps regenerate ATP? To creatine. This is where the wedding takes place. Pillar 2. Strategic use of creatine over 7 days. Now comes the practical part that separates Hulk from little Hulk. During these 7 days, you will use 5g of creatine. Every day, always with water. Always take with a meal or after a workout. No need to reinvent the wheel, but here's a detail that almost no one mentions. On days with heavy training, you will use creatine as a routine anchor. What do you mean, Hulk? Simple. He trained hard. It ended creatine plus solid meal water rest. This creates a physiological loop. Training, insulin, creatine in the muscle, volume, strength, more training. The body learns quickly when the stimulus is clear. Pillar 3. Rest between sets, where creatine shines. Most people rest incorrectly. Rest period too short. Power drops. High load trash stimulus. Rest that's too long. Workout becomes a leisurely stroll. Regular Hulk. 60 to 120 seconds for isolated exercises. 120 to 180 seconds for heavy compounds. Creatine accelerates ATP regeneration during this interval. This means that you still have the strength for the next series. More force, more load, more tension, more adaptation. Pillar 4. Food. Without it, you're just a bloated Huck. Now I'm going to say something that hurts. If you use creatine and don't eat right, you'll just look like a deflated balloon. Creatine draws water into the muscle, but muscle only grows with sufficient protein, sufficient calories. Simple rule, 2g of protein per kilograms of body weight. Carbohydrates without fear. Controlled fat. If you're eating like a bird, your body won't build anything. He's just surviving. Emotional escalation. Now listen carefully. Because this is meant to wake men up. These 7 days, they are not magicians, they are proof. If you do everything right, it's going to get more crowded, stronger, more confident. But if you think it's just a matter of taking creatine, you'll keep complaining in the comments. Creatine, reward, discipline, no hope. So now you know creatine is not a shortcut, it's an amplifier. She's dating a man who trains seriously, and it transforms into a machine. Now sit down, Huk, because this chapter is a slap in the face. Here are the most idiotic and common mistakes which makes the person take creatine for months and still have the body of a scared teenager. And the worst part, you've probably made most of these mistakes already, not out of malice, but due to ignorance mixed with laziness. Let's clean up this mess. Error 1. Thinking creatine works. Without real workouts, that's mistake number 1. Hulk takes creatine and continues training like it's a walk in the park. Training without progression is like muscle masturbation. It does not generate growth, it's just tiring. Creatine does not create stimulus. She responds to stimulus. It does not increase the load. It doesn't increase repetitions. It does not increase the volume. The body understands that it doesn't need to change. Creatine looks at this scenario and says, okay, nothing to do here, and then he leaves. Error 2. Training on an empty stomach like a Himalayan monk. Another classic influencer mistake. The guy wakes up, takes creatine, goes to train on an empty stomach, and thinks he's become an ancient warrior. It didn't work. He turned weak with a philosophical excuse. Creatine needs insulin to penetrate the muscle better. Without food, efficiency drops. Result? Less creatine means less muscle. Less volume, less strength. Fasting can have its place, but not during the bulking phase. Do you want to grow? Eat like a man. Error 3. Not drinking water and blaming creatine. This one is pathetic. Hulk drinks 2 glasses of water a day, takes creatine, and then says, creatine gave me a headache. No, little Hulk, it was your unclear that gave you a headache. Chronic dehydration. Creatine draws water into the muscle. Not enough water. It gives me cramps. It gives me a headache. It gives a strange feeling. Then the animal stops using creatine and thinking it's bad. It's not creatine. You're the one who drinks water like a traumatized camel. Error 4. Skipping doses, times, and routines. Creatine is not caffeine. It is not thermogenic. It's not a pre-workout. It works by accumulation. When you forget to take it one day, then skip the next. Change the dose all the time. You never reach muscle saturation. It's like trying to fill a swimming pool by pouring in a glass of water. Simple rule, little Hulk. 5G every day. No negotiation. No drama, no excuses, no, oh, I forgot today. Error 5. Thinking creatine causes weight gain. This lie needs to die. Creatine, it doesn't turn into fat. Creatine, it has no significant calories. What she does is drawing water into the muscle. This increases muscle volume, not the fat. If you gained weight while taking creatine, it was because he ate like an out-of-control wild boar. It stopped moving. He used creatine as an excuse. Don't blame the supplement for your lack of self-control. Error 6. Being afraid of becoming bloated. This error is psychological. Hulk takes creatine, looks in the mirror and says, I'm a bit too full. Full of muscle, that animal. This is called intracellular volume. This swelling is precisely more strength, more leverage, more stimulus. This is what allows you to train hard for longer. A man who is afraid of getting full. It wants to be dry and weak. Emotional escalation. Now listen to this carefully, because here is the stark truth. Creatine never fails. It's the Hulk who fails. It only reveals who you really are. If you are disciplined, it will turn you into a machine. If you are inconsistent, it exposes your mediocrity. She doesn't accept excuses. She doesn't tolerate laziness. So now you know what do not. If you stop making these mistakes, his strength rises. Your workout pays off. Your body responds. Now the moment of truth has arrived. Huk. So far I've shown you how creatine works, how to force results in 7 days, and what stupid mistakes ruin everything. But if you think it's over, you're still thinking small. Why gain muscle mass in 7 days? It's easy. It's difficult not to lose everything afterwards. And this is where 90% fail. They have a decent week, they feel great, they relax. And in 2 weeks, they're back to being the same deflated, complaining about genetics, supplements, training, life. Today, I'm going to show you how to consolidate the gains to keep creatine working in your favor and, most importantly, to create the identity of a disciplined man, because muscle starts in the physique, but it stays in my head. Final pillar 1. Creatine is not a cycle, it's a lifestyle. First point, compile this into your brain. Creatine does not cycle. Creatine doesn't take a break. Creatine is non-negotiable, 5 g per day. He trained or he didn't train, sun, rain, or apocalypse. Huk's mistake is treating creatine as a temporary project. Strong man treats like basic routine, just like brushing your teeth. When you maintain muscle saturation, strength remains high, volume remains the same, recovery accelerates. Stopping creatine without a reason is like taking apart a car engine because it was working too well. Pillar 2. Muscle progression or death. Now pay attention, because this is what separates the real man from the extra. Creatine only continues to work if the training continues to progress. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. You need to do the basics. Consistently, more cargo, more repetitions, more control, more tension. If you spend months lifting the same weight, your body goes into power-saving mode. Creatine doesn't work miracles on a complacent body. Pumped Huk. Every week, you need to beat the previous workout, even if it's just one more repetition. If there is no progress, you're training to stay small. Pillar 3. Sleep, where creatine turns into muscle. Here comes the part that the Huks hate to hear. If you sleep poorly, creatine becomes an expensive placebo. It is during sleep that testosterone rooms, growth hormone acts, muscle rebuilds itself. You can take the purest creatine in the world. If you sleep 5 hours a night, your body will only survive. It doesn't grow. Do you want to keep your gains? 7 to 9 hours of sleep, dark room. No cell phone before bed. Sleeping poorly is consciously choosing to be weak. Pillar 4. Eat like a man, not like an anxious bird. Another classic mistake after the results are announced. The Huk grows a little, gets excited, starts eating junk food, or cuts out food for fear of ruining his physique. Decide, animal. Do you want to grow, or do you want to appear dry and empty? Creatine, it doesn't build muscle on its own. It only improves the environment. You still need sufficient protein, sufficient energy regularity. It's not about eating like a pig. It's like eating strategically. If you cut off food, the body cuts off growth. Simple. Final emotional climb. Now, listen to this carefully, because this isn't about creatine. Creatine is just a mirror image. She shows who is disciplined, who is consistent, those who follow a routine even without motivation. It doesn't change character, it reveals her character. You can continue being the Huk who jumps from method to method, or you can assume the identity of someone who does the bare minimum every day. A strong man doesn't look for tricks. Seek consistency. So let me ask you, looking you straight in the face right now, do you want to continue being the Huk who asks how long until it grows? Or do you want to turn into the Huk that grows because never fails? Creatine is not the secret. The secret is to become the kind of man that do what needs to be done. All day. No applause, no excuses. And when you do that, the body follows. From Huk Nutella to Muscular Huk. Discipline builds the body that motivation never will. End.